Hello, hello, Uta Hagen here of Trans Widow, Uta Hagen YouTube channel, and also author of In the Curated Woods, True Tales from a Grass Widow, which is available in ebook and this paperback form from iuniverse.com/bookstore. Thank you, all the new subscribers, and thank you for coming back, my loyal stalwarts. I have here an old photo I found, the one where, this is, I don't know, 15 years ago almost, where, or wait a minute, longer than that. Yeah, it's 20 something years ago. Okay. That's why I'm in such better shape. This was after a summer of swimming, and we realized that my older son had become taller than me, and he was 14. So I like to show my mother identity pictures because we trans widows typically suffer mother erasure. And basically, the rest of society is going to learn about mother erasure if we don't, put our foot down or put our collective feet down and reclaim what is ours and just firmly, not stridently or insultingly, but just calmly say, females are women, girls are females and grow up to be women, and boys can never do that. And I don't understand now in these last few years why men aren't feeling a little bit more insulted about the females who call themselves trans men. Maybe because they just aren't convincing at all. Perhaps that is why, men haven't been making a hue and cry. But now's the time. So this is the story of Melanie, who is now trans widow number 66. Just to complete all the information, my blog is at Substack now, utahagen.substack.com. And I give the information about my old WordPress blog on that. The older articles I am gradually going to upload into my Substack. I am on Facebook, simply Uta Hagen, 2 words. Let's see, it looks like next week sometime I will be interviewed by Jay of the Storybox channel. And I'm really hoping that by interviewing with a larger channel, that we might add to our data on trans widows' experiences through replies to my survey, 20 questions to ask a trans widow. So Melanie says to my first question, was it a revelation or your discovery? It was my discovery. He'd been spending very late nights at his studio, sometimes not coming home until 11 or 12. He was also spending a lot of time in the bathroom and being very guarded with his phone. I was convinced he was cheating. One day, I looked in his backpack and found multiple pairs of my underwear with ejaculate in them, which is when I realized something else is going on. I later looked at his phone and found multiple photos and videos of him masturbating in various states of undress in my clothes and underwear. This is a boundary violation, and, the likes of Bruce Caitlyn Jenner, make that into a joke and entertain people with stories of how he did it in his daughter's clothes. Did he then tell you it's under control, not frequent, and then it escalated out of control? When I confronted him, I didn't initially tell him that I had looked through his things. I told him that I was noticing odd behavior, like shaving his body hair and growing out the hair on his head, and in addition to being gone late at night. So I asked him if he was questioning his gender identity. This was the advice given to me by the internet when I asked online about his behavior, and he told me that he thought he might be a bit gender bending like David Bowie, but he said he didn't think he was trans. You know, I would say basically if you're finding something like this, start making your plans to leave because it's not going to get better. In general, the escalation rate is quite high. Did he select a therapist and did that therapist or he claim the marriage is now a lesbian relationship? He got a therapist shortly after that conversation. To my knowledge, she never claimed that we were in a lesbian relationship. In fact, this therapist's own husband, this therapist was a woman, her own husband was a trans woman and allowed her, she reported, to call husband, and he, since they had gotten married before the transition. Oh, what a generous dude. Oh my. However, she was still very pro-gender ideology, and her husband coming out was the reason she decided to be a gender therapist. Because, oh my goodness, it's going to be so lucrative. This is absolutely classic, Melanie. Thank you so much. Did he put money in a secret account or other venue and spend it on wardrobe, electrolysis, and etc., credit card debt? Because we weren't married, our finances were always separate, so he had no need to put money in a secret account. He bought a lot of new clothes, but mainly from Goodwill and Chinese fast fashion like Shein, which I don't know what that is. So I don't think he spent insane amounts of money. I don't think he ever went into credit card debt. Did he wear your clothing or makeup? Yes. In the beginning, before he came out, he stole my clothes and underwear. I think he stole my makeup and skincare products too, but I don't have evidence of that. After he came out, he bought his own clothes and would generally ask to use my things, though I later found out he was continuing to steal my bras without consent. I mean, this is really why it's just important to look into the future. Log on to Trans Widow Ute Hagen YouTube channel and understand what's ahead for you if you stay, because it's really better to get out before continual boundary violations start happening. Did he suggest or coerce or cajole you into so-called, in quotes, sex role play, where you use, equipment, da-da-da? Yes, in the beginning, I tried to be acquiescing because I was worried about triggering his gender dysphoria. But in general, I was very disgusted by a lot of the new sex stuff we were doing, and I got more hesitant with time. He was very, very persistent about using a strap-on, which is something I didn't want to do. So that's coercion. This is one of the reasons he ended up cheating. Oh my. Later, I was coerced into using the strap-on, among other things, under threat of cheating. Yeah, you really do have to get out, because as soon as someone threatens you that, oh, if you don't do this with me, I'm going to just cheat on you. Like, who does he think he is? Warren Beatty or something? No, I'm just citing Warren Beatty as some philanderer, handsome guy. I'm showing my age. Okay, this happened even after I had multiple breakdowns in the bedroom during sex. This was a very dark period for me. Yeah, again, you've got to figure out how you're going to leave, because they do not deserve to do this to you. Did a therapist suggest all of that stuff? No. We did not start couples therapy until after the first episode of cheating. So he did go out cheating. And I communicated a lot of my distress around the sexual behavior in a private sex session. So she didn't say that when he was there. Because of this, she didn't push anything sexual in the therapy sessions. But I wonder if she said to him, you are violating your wife's or your partner's very normal female boundaries. Melanie did tell me they weren't married, but they were together for 10 years. So I do qualify her as a trans widow. After she misgendered him in one session, so then she got in trouble with him, he's the boss, she started to take his side in therapy much more often, which made her pretty unhelpful. Leave, leave, leave. No, don't put up with any of this. And did he defame or vilify you? We didn't have kids. There was no divorce or custody process, but he defamed me. He called me abusive and a TERF. To anyone who would listen and who didn't know my side of the story. Thankfully, that means he didn't defame me to most mutual friends because I had ample evidence of his cheating. But anyone who didn't know me or didn't know me well, he would tell them I was an abusive TERF. If she was so abusive, why didn't he get out? Neither one of us really used social media, so this happened in person and not online. I don't think he would defame me online either because, again, I have ample embarrassing evidence of his cheating. Did he claim to the therapist or any group of friends that you abused him verbally or physically? Yes. He told friends and people he was cheating with that I was verbally abusive to gain sympathy, in order for him to gain sympathy with them. I don't have many details, but I did speak to one non-binary woman he was cheating with who confirmed he said I was abusive and a TERF. I also saw the texts that he sent to others saying the same. Yeah, this guy, he gets 100% on the test. Are you a narcissist? Okay, he was not physically violent, so no to number 10. Force unwanted sex. Okay, yeah, I mean, he coerced. I mean, I think she had breakdowns, during the sex. I don't know how to say this as a no, although she said no, he didn't force me. It's so hard. Sometimes there's a line that there's this line that becomes invisible between coercion and, sexual violence, forcing. She did not live below the poverty line. She must have had her own jobs, no clergy. She's not a mother. When she had her first therapist, she says, I was still believing in gender ideology and using she, her pronouns for him. By the time I had my second therapist, I specifically sought out one who was gender critical, who would allow me to use the male pronouns. We're up to number 16. Did you lose a set of friends? So she said, kind of. I'll take that as a yes. I began to distance myself from former friends because the end of our relationship was a little too public and dramatic. Oh, I would like that story, sweetheart. And I felt like I wanted to start over. He also slowly started distancing himself from that friend group. I think for the same reason. I think they knew something funny was going on, and I don't think he wanted to deal with them finding out he was cheating. I still keep in touch with a couple of people, and I think he does too. The rest of the questions are all whether you have about having kids, and they didn't have children together. And he'd never claimed that her ending the relationship caused him to decide to live full-time, so as female. So there we have it. I do want to just end with my 5 questions of life, because the more I talk about them, the more other people really agree with me that these are important questions and would be the right way to approach a teen who is coming to you with cross-sex ideation. Number 1, do you desire to have a healthy body for a long life? Number 2, Do you desire to have a clear, uncluttered mind? Number 3. Do you desire for your clear, uncluttered mind to have a strong connection with your healthy body? Number 4. Do you desire to learn the skills and have the support, resources, background to help others who are less fortunate than you, or who are younger than you? Or, box 2, door number 2, do you think it would be well to ruminate mostly about yourself and your identity? Number 5, do you desire to be able to differentiate between that which is in your scope that you can achieve in your life, and learn to recognize that which is outside of your scope? You know, for example, if you're starting to learn an instrument, you're not going to immediately start playing a Beethoven concerto. If you are already in your middle 20s and you wish you could be a professional ballet dancer, it's really probably too late unless you were a gymnast or a figure skater or something like that before and already have the flexibility and a lot of the training. There are things that one cannot decide to do and believe that you can just do that. For example, even though I think I'm really quite skilled with helping people heal, I don't think it would be practical for me to apply to a PhD program in psychology or to apply to medical school so that I could become a psychiatrist. I don't like the whole drug culture of the psychiatry anyway, but there are always those things that are outside of our scope. Sometimes children can't differentiate between that. Like, children would like to eat ice cream at every meal. Children would like to not have to go to sleep at all. They think they can be fine with not enough sleep. There are these various desires and aspirations in life that we have to learn. That's not for now. But I have to tell you, bit by bit, step by step, with my gardening and the stewardship of my woods that I'm doing, and the thought that I am going to see about 300 more daffodils blooming when spring comes, those are all things that have been step by step, month by month, year by year, achievable. And I will keep you posted when they start coming up. I think we have about 2 months until I start seeing the shoots. Please like, subscribe, and share. Be well until the next time. Get out there and do your walks.